lifestyle, that they got the food down, and that's not going to affect any type of autoimmune or inflammation. So can you talk about food sensitivities?
I can. I would be happy to talk about that. And so part of the reason that happens in the first place is there's inflammation in our bodies, and our gut microbiome, which are those bacteria that lie in our gut, trillions of them, and they get out of balance. And we're supposed to have a certain amount of certain types of bacteria in our guts, and they're producing metabolites, the short chain fatty acids, that help maintain the integrity of our intestinal wall. So the intestinal wall has all these little villi in it, and it's only one cell layer thick, the entire intestinal wall, and it's being protected by a mucus layer and by those microbiome. And so imagine one cell layer. Our skin is multiple cell layers thick, and it gets damaged, right? And we're eating, again, 3 times a day at least, if not more. And so, and sometimes we're eating for long days, and we're not giving it time to heal and repair. And so what can happen is the microbiome gets out of balance, and that happens for all sorts of reasons. From we took antibiotics, we're stressed out. Stress actually changes our microbiome. Another reason to take those deep breaths, and do some yoga, or go out and be mindful in a field somewhere and laugh. But stress changes our microbiome. We may have taken ibuprofen or Aleve or some of these NSAIDs for a long time. If we have a standard American diet and we're eating fatty foods itself, processed foods will damage the microbiome, and sugar will change the microbiome, and eating low fiber. So the microbiome actually feeds on resistant starch, which is a type of starch that we can't break down. It's like a fiber idea. And so the microbiome is supposed to be lying mostly in the colon, the lower part, the large intestine. And so if we eat food that has no fiber, let's say white bread, let's say pizza, right? No fiber in that. And so it will be digested in the small intestine. And by the time it gets to large intestine, there's no more fiber. There's no resistant starch in there. And the microbiome are starving. And so what happens is now you see them change from the healthy, balanced microbiome into an imbalance, I guess I could say, and they're not producing the exact correct metabolites anymore. And now the gut lining will start to break down. They're no longer protecting it. They're no longer restoring it and regenerating and rebuilding the gut lining. Now the gut lining breaks down. Now you're going to get pieces of undigested food particles, or those bacteria or toxins in the gut that's supposed to be kept out of the actual body, are going to go across it. It's called translocation. This is called leaky gut type phenomenon, or intestinal hyperpermeability, where these particles are not supposed to go across as big particles, or the microbiome is not supposed to go across, but it does. It goes across, and there's evidence of that. We've seen it now. And so what happens is now the gut is broken. It's leaky. It's not functioning perfectly anymore. It's not selectively letting in certain things and not other things. Well, the immune system is lying just below the gut lining. And so if any particles or toxins or microbiome come across, your immune system is right there, and it's going to react to it. And so it reacts to all these different things. So you may react to your own microbiome. You may react to protein particles are broken down into peptides before they're amino acids. And if those peptides come across, that's a known trigger for inflammation, autoimmunity. And so are the microbiome, if they're coming across, is a known trigger for autoimmunity. And so what happens is, back to food sensitivities, is now that the gut is disrupted and it's not functioning properly anymore, and it's got these little tiny seb-like, they're not really holes, but it's allowing stuff in between them, in between the cells. Now, like if you eat a strawberry, let's say, that strawberry can come across where it's not supposed to, and your immune system is there, and it's not going to recognize it because it's not supposed to come across at that point in that way until it's further digested into the tiny little nutrients. And so now your body might start reacting. Your immune system is right there. And it turns out autoimmune people have one of the causes of autoimmune disease, or one of the contributing things to it, is that the gut lining becomes disrupted. and the microbiome's out of balance. And so food sensitivities are very common in autoimmune people, and I certainly have plenty of myself, and I see it in my patients. And so when we're healing people with an autoimmune disease, it's not only a plant-based diet, because some of the plant-based foods can be food triggers, can be food sensitivities.